my partner Tanya, my beautiful partner, gave birth to our beautiful daughter Ronya Joy Thomas O'Rourke just under 2 weeks ago. We are completely overwhelmed with joy. It was a home birth, a planned home birth. We had baby Ronya here in the house, and it was just fantastic. Everything went so well. We were assisted by midwives and a doula, and they were just phenomenal. The whole process was just completely, overwhelming, to be honest with you. Baby is thriving and happy. Mommy is recovering very well. Everything went to plan. It was wonderful. We feel very fortunate and blessed. The doula and midwives were advising me how to deal with the placenta afterwards, and there are a number of things you can do. But seeing as we had it, we decided to, and we're very interested in doing what's known as a placenta print, so combining our understanding of art and parts of the beautiful labour and pregnancy that we had. We decided it would be a good idea to kind of have some type of keepsake around this wonderful object. It's a rare enough thing to have in your presence. So we stored it away for a bit and took it back out again. And in this video, I'm showing you the process of how I went about making a very simple placenta print. There's a bit of blood in it, so if you're squeamish, please be advised it's not for the faint-hearted. But all in all, it was a very, very humbling experience to have this giver of life, this organ of life, to use in this artistic manner. A very rare opportunity that I couldn't pass up. So yeah, we decided on the print, and I hope you enjoy the video.
This is the setup for the placenta print. I'd stored the placenta in this hygienic box that was provided by the midwives. Everything nice and sterile, a nice flat board here to keep it nice and level. This is the placenta itself with the umbilical cord still attached. It actually had the clamp still attached here, and I was struggling a little bit with that initially. I didn't know how to take the clamp off. The cord is clamped shortly after the baby is delivered, and it was a bit tricky to remove the clamp. So the objective here was to have the placenta nice and flat on the board so that I can place the paper over it and get a nice print. But with this clamp here at the end, it would kind of have it uneven, so I had to figure out a way, which I did in the end, of getting it off, but it just wouldn't budge as it was, a tricky little device to maneuver. But the placenta itself was just in great shape, such a vibrant colour, a gorgeous object. And I spent a bit of time adjusting it and kind of moving it around the board to get a good sense of levelness, so that when I applied the paper we could get something to reveal itself on the page. I was struck by the beauty of the placenta. It's just a beautiful organ. It provides the blood and oxygen from the mother to the child. It was just remarkable. I was pretty overcome, I have to say, being in the presence of this organ that kept my child alive throughout the pregnancy. So I kept changing my gloves because there's a lot of blood that comes off the placenta as you go along, and here I am with the sharp knife, and I just clipped the end and removed that clamp, and that freed me up then to position the umbilical cord every way I wish. There's a little close-up of the placenta there. You can see the membrane to the left and the umbilical cord coming out of the centre. Just gorgeous object, And I spent a bit of time just moving it around and getting it nice and flat, and try and figure out a way of having the umbilical cord visible as well. Some people like to put it in the shape of a tree. You get this kind of tree of life print, but I wanted an organic print. I wanted it to look like a real placenta had been just placed onto some paper. This side of the placenta is the fetal side, the side that the baby is attached to, A lot of people print on the other side, which is known as the maternal side, which is on kind of a softer side. You know, it gives a different type of print, but I wanted this biological, organic looking print. So here I am with the watercolour paper. It gives a lovely absorbency, and then you apply the pressure with the hands. And it's kind of a thing like any printing where you try to figure out how much pressure to apply is the question. So here I was doing it a bit lightly to see at first what kind of reveal I would get. It's very like mono printing, you know, trying to get that gauge right, that kind of touch. So this is known as a blood print, where you're just using the actual blood from the organ to create that kind of patterned print. And that was the first one to come off. You know, you could see the potential of them already. It's like remarkable fluid, like an ink, the fluid itself, you know. So I experimented then with different pressures to see what would come out. And I kind of moved the cord around a bit as well, to give it a kind of more of a shape. You know, it's really, really simple. Kind of, it just wants to do its own thing as well. It doesn't need to be kind of messed about with too much, you know. I decided I'd do a few blood prints to see how they would come out and what they had to offer. And here I am applying a little bit more pressure than I did originally to see the differential there. And then from that I would get a gauge as to how much pressure I would need to for, say, a colour print or an ink print, which I did later. But this one was with the kind of more pressure. And yeah, I could kind of get a feel for it then. So then I decided that I would add some colour to the mix and see how we go with that, you know. And I was really impressed with the organ itself, the blood vessels, the lines, the structure of it. It was really something else to behold, you know, this temporary organ, so rare to come across, very unique. You know, I did one more blood print here just to get a feel for it with my hands, you know, and I could feel the ooze of the blood as I pressed down on the paper, and got some nice results with it. You know, the paper just absorbs it. You know, you could probably leave the paper on a little longer, perhaps, you know. It was one thing I was reflecting on afterwards with the process. I thought it was okay. So here I've applied ink now, different colours. These are the Winsor Newton inks, watercolour inks, and I used a brush and I gently brushed into the blood vessels and these kind of veins, and they're like arteries running through the whole thing. It's an amazing looking object, it really is, and I kind of watched the blood mix in with the ink. It was very impressive, really was, you know. This kind of stem of the umbilical cord coming out of the heart of the placenta. Really, really just, you know, an overwhelming experience, really, to be there with it and see it, you know. So the inks kind of melded in nicely, and these kind of watercolours were really, really good. I'm sure you could use lots of different things for it too, and at this stage I'd kind of gotten the gauge right with the hand, and I just kind of pressed down to the mid-range of pressure and hoped for the best, you know. And when I pulled the paper back, there was a lovely colourful print that had come out, you know. It was lovely, really, really nice. So it is traditionally and technically a mono print, I suppose, but it was very enjoyable, very, very enjoyable experience. And the paper, I don't know if you could use normal kind of A3 paper, but the watercolour paper I used seemed to do the trick. It seemed to kind of really, really absorb the fluids and the inks and really, really give it that sense of printing, if you like. A thoroughly enjoyable experience. I would even go as far as to say you could do it with acrylic paints or any type of paint, really, or something that can adhere to the paper, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. Here's a close-up of the placenta now with the inks. You can see what I mean by the veins and the structure of the arteries, or you know, it really is overwhelming. An incredible object altogether. Really bring out some good results. You can see the blood that comes from it then, you know, as I was working along, the blood prints there. And there's a final print there now, and how the colours come out and how it combines and comes together to give you this beautiful keepsake for life.
So that's how I did it. That's how we decided to finish up with the placenta and the umbilical cord. We believe that the prints look great. It'll be an interesting keepsake. We might keep them in secret till Ronya's 18 or 21 and pull them out and completely embarrass her when she's an adult. I highly recommend that if you ever have the chance to have a placenta print made, then please do go for it. It's a wonderful experience. As always, if you like the videos, please subscribe to the channel. Some comments and likes would be greatly appreciated. And thank you very much.